Hello and welcome to the World Curling Federation Olympic qualification event, coming to you live from Füssen in Germany. This picturesque town in southern Bavaria is famous for its two castles in a spectacular alpine setting. But this week it is all about the indoors. The first ever Olympic qualification event at the BLZ Arena. Our featured game in the men's draw is Korea against Japan. And here are the teams.
On sheet 8, the two teams of Korea and Japan are playing. On sheet B, the team of New Zealand is playing against the team of Finland. On sheet C, you can see the teams of USA and Czechia playing.
These are the lineups for Korea. The lead, Nam Yoon-ho. At second, Taiwan Kim. The third, Yong-duk Park. And the Korean skip, Soo-hyuk Kim. For Japan, the lead, Kazuki Morozumi. At second, we have Tetsuro Shimizu. Tsuyoshi Yamaguchi is the third player. And Yuzuki Morozumi, the skip. So here are the teams participating in this first ever qualification event. Czech Republic, Finland, France, Germany, Japan, Korea, New Zealand and the United States. 2 places at stake in the Olympics in Sochi in January. Live commentary coming up from me, Alison Walker, and alongside me, Logan Gray. We'll catch a word with him in just a second. On sheet 8 in this first draw, we also have New Zealand against Finland, USA against the Czech Republic, and Germany against France on sheet D. And Logan, this promises to be a very, very, very interesting week indeed.
Yeah, it certainly does, Alison, especially in the men's draw. I think we've got 8 countries here who are all very strong teams, not very much of a muchness. I don't really see a lot between any of the teams, so it really is an open field and could go any which way. As far as our feature game goes between Korea and Japan, I must confess to not knowing a great deal about the Koreans. I've not seen them play a huge amount, but I've played against the Japanese guys a few times, and I think they're certainly not afraid to mix things up and get a lot of stones in play, so should make for an interesting first draw here.
And they are 16 and 17 in the world rankings, so it should be a pretty close game. And it's the Koreans to get us underway.
Yeah, and interestingly, they've called a centre guard here in the first end. I think you'd see a lot of the teams choosing to go into the rings with their first stone in the first game, give themselves a chance to bed into the game and get used to the ice conditions, perhaps settle the nerves. So maybe we'll get some fireworks in the first end here. So Kazuki Morozumi goes for the come around on that centre guard. Just drifts down onto the tee line.
Here's Yoon Nam, 29-year-old, curler for 12 years.
Yeah, I think that's an indication as well of Korea being very much a curling nation in its infancy. A lot of the curlers you see coming through the more traditional curling nations, they're going to have been curling since we were kind of around about 10 years old, but
5 years on the team.
Yeah, Nam taking it up when he was about 17, so very much the Asian countries a little bit behind the Western countries who are curling, but certainly very competent at this level these days.
Kazuki Morozumi the brother of the skip.
Oh, beautiful freeze here by Morozumi. Sets up some really nice angles. So it is an interesting first end developing here after the lead stones, just 4 stones in play. And as I said before, the other 3 games, there is no stones in the house. So
Taiwan Kim.
traditionally the teams do take a more defensive approach at the start of the first game.
Yeah, it is quite unusual this maybe, but it's an unusual event. It's the first of its kind. There's a lot at stake. Maybe they realise they maybe need to hit the ground running.
So another nice shot here by the Koreans. I think maybe it's testament to the ice conditions. Of course, the teams do get a chance to practice on the ice during the day before the competition starts, and if the teams are pretty confident with the ice conditions, then it could well be more likely to go for it. And there's certainly a lot of curl here in the BLZ arena.
Tetsuro Shimizu, 25-year-old. Born in Nagano. And Japan was the last time that Japan actually played in the Olympics, when they hosted it in Nagano. So it'd be very special if they could get to the top 2. There's a reminder of the rules of play for you. 6 ends minimum, 73 minutes for each team. And of course the coach interaction, and the clock continues to run.
Yeah, and some super play here to start this game. I think every shot's been pretty much perfect from both teams, and it's a really nice end. So far both teams clearly willing to mix it up and get some stones in play. So this is very much a process of just trying to jostle the angles around and try and get some advantage over the opposition. At the moment it's definitely advantage Japan. That red stone looking pretty lonely in there on its own, and 3 yellow counters lying round about.
Yep, they're all lurking menacingly.
Big scrub there from the Koreans. Would have maybe just liked a little more weight just to free up that red stone. Just a reminder that Japan do have the last stone here. They could be quite happy to take that guard off. To take that center guard off, they'd be in great shape here. Of course, Japan playing the yellow stones and Korea playing the reds. Okay, so it wasn't the called shot, but a very nice result actually. Chips the guard off, and Korea really need to be careful here. So this is a really important shot for Korea. They don't need to make this double over here, but if they could just get to the nose, they would probably be in slightly better shape. Here's Yongduk Park. Really important he gets to the nose or inside of this yellow stone. Oh, and actually quite a nice shot there. Leaves that yellow stone on the tee line as a catcher.
So we've got lots of stones in play, and it's developing into the interesting end, which we don't often see actually in curling. This is Tsuyoshi Yamaguchi, 29-year-old, playing third for Japan. He's a fitness instructor from Kurisawa. Shuffles things around a little bit.
이거는 별로 이거 마지막 잽 더블 나와. 별로 안 좋은 것 같아. 잽 나니까 얇게. 좀 더 안으로 바꿔 돌아도 돼. 너만. 뭐야? 너만.
Well, Korea just need to be a little bit careful here without the last stone. A few yellow stones built up around the rings. And that's always a concern when you don't have the last stone advantage. Tries to make the double, but locks on the back stone. So Japan now lying 2 with the last stone.
Yep, that didn't do too much to help the Korean case. And Japan looking good here.
Certainly got their attention. And this is maybe the disadvantage of playing an aggressive start to the game. You end up with lots of stones in play, you end up with lots of 25-second draws making their way down the ice, and it can put a little bit of pressure on your time clock for the rest of the game too. So it's another advantage of playing at a defensive first end, but believe me, I'm more than happy to see stones in play at this stage. Oh, super shot by Yamaguchi. And now, I wonder who's lying 5th shot. It's quite clear that Japan lying 3 and Korea lying 4th shot at the back of the house. But who's lying 5th shot at the outside?
정답 조금만 안쪽으로만 맞으면 처음에 맞는 돌 닦아서 내보내야 돼.
Soo-hyuk Kim, 25 years old.
Would like to make a double at least here. Doesn't manage to do so, so Japan still lying 2.
これ微妙だね。ああ、微妙だと思う。勝ってる？いや、ギリ。ギリ。ああ、だったら面白いけどね。まあ、このぐらい。ああ。そうだね、じゃあダブルしてね。あ、ちょっと重いと思う。2からでいいんだっけ？2から。あ、2から。
So the skip, Mizuki Morozumi.
Bing. Bing. Yep. Yes. 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 Yes.
Well, sits right in between them. Very easy to remove 2 of these yellow stones, but not so easy to remove all 3. It's possible though.
맞지? 이거 먼저 맞아야 되지. 이거 먼저
Bear in mind the way they've
뒤에
played
가야
this end, they're likely to go for it.
아니면 이거 2개만 날려도 돼요.
아니면 그냥 저거 2개 해라도.
All in the angles.
반? 트리플 나와. 다나 조금만 더 쪽. 조금만 더.
So important shot this. Just needs to be a little bit careful not to hit this yellow stone onto the back red. That could well lead to a big end for Japan, so just needs to be a little bit careful. Seems to be running a fraction high at the moment. Oh, super shot here.
Yeah, absolutely came off, didn't it? And he was in a real spot of bother there, but he has relieved the pressure. Not smiling too much though, Logan.
I think that's a face of relief more than anything else. If that had gone wrong at all, then it could have led to a big end for Japan. Really fast houses here in the BLZ arena, making that shot much easier than it would be in your curling club at home. So much life from the stones when they contact each other, just springs off one another.
So he saved the end in terms of Korea, so what can Japan end up with?
Well, they're playing takeout at the back here. Is it for 1 or 2? This one's going to come down onto the beak. Is it for 2? They're going to have a look.
Definitely 1. Those 2 outside.
So the Koreans say 1, and Shimizu says, I think we'll put a measure on that second one.
It does look pretty close, to be fair, and the players are usually very, very good about admitting whether they feel theirs is in or out. The 2 would be a good start for Japan.
Well, it certainly would, Alison, but don't know if I agree entirely with your comment. If there's any who's even close to your stone line second shot, I think you're willing to test the rings out, get the umpire out, and just put a measure on it.
What I'm saying is that curlers are very honest people. The sporting integrity is very much in evidence in curling. So this is the measure coming out. Well, it was.
Not happy with that measure. I think maybe the measure could be a little bit warm.
There's a nice close-up. Look at that one. See where it is on the lines. Stones made on the island of Ailsa Craig off the Scottish west coast. Made of granite, 2 types of granite.
Well, we're used to having a little bit of technical difficulties with the handles and the stone with the Iron Hog technology, but it looks like the umpires are having a little bit of technical difficulties with the measures.
Okay in this first end, but you don't want this to be happening right at the death, really. So round goes the measure. It will assess where this one is in the gauge, and then it will continue round. Oh.
Just not quite happy with it at all.
Well, best to get it right. It's important. Right, this time.
Right, I'm going to say by process of elimination, Alison, that is Gwen Cralo from the USA doing the measure.
Right, she's the only lady.
Yes.
So here she goes this time. she'll get that there, and then she'll tweak the buttons, and I was about to say wheek it round.
No, we don't do that. Then we risk moving the stones, so it's a very delicate process. You don't want to risk moving the stones.
And it's a red. Can't remember what you said there, Logan. I think you said red, didn't you?
I think the players thought it was a red, but just testing the rings out maybe.
Yeah. So it's 1-2 Japan. Decent enough start. Some nice stones in play. A good end. It's Japan who have the lead. And all the nations here have taken part in one or both of the 2012 and 2013 World Championships, but they didn't gather enough points to qualify for the Olympics directly. Hence, they've had to be involved in this qualification competition. 2 men's and 2 women's teams will qualify, so it's a big week for curling in these countries.
クリーンだけって感じだね。
That was a very positive end from both sides, Logan, to start with.
Well, exactly. That's exactly what we want to see, Alison. Loads of stones in play. Some big shots getting played in the very first end of the competition. Once again, centre guard going up from Japan here.
Korea have never qualified for the Olympics. Korean men haven't, but the women have. So it'll be a massive achievement if they manage to do well this week. You can see it coming around nicely and almost directly in line behind the yellow.
Well, I'm told, having been speaking to both the Japanese team and the New Zealand team last week, they were training in my hometown of Stirling in their preparations, and Kenny Thompson of the New Zealand team was telling me that Kosuke Morozumi, the New Zealand guys, didn't really know what his name was for a long time, so it just said K Morozumi on the back of his shirt. So they just decided his name was Kenny, so they've affectionately called him Kenny Morozumi.
Sounds like they've adopted him.
Yeah.
That was Tetsuro Shimizu.
앞에도 괜찮아? 네? 네? 여덟 티. 바꿔 같아? 여덟 티. 그래. Clean, clean, yep, yes! 더 와야 돼.
Okay, so once again, lots of stones in place. Some really nice freezes around the centre guard, and early on here, Japan choosing to bail out. I think this could well be the key for the Japanese this week. They're certainly very good at the aggressive game, but it's about when knowing that they're in a little bit of trouble and they need to bail out, especially when they don't have the last stone. So they get a lot of granite move in there. However, they do leave a red Korean stone in the house, and they have also left a corner guard there, which could come into use later on for Korea.
다섯, 다섯, 여섯. 다섯, 여섯. 왼쪽만 봐. 라인 괜찮아. 왼쪽만 봐. 다섯, 다섯, 여섯, 다섯. 좀 더. 예스. 좀 더. 예스. 하이. 예스. 오케이. 왼쪽 봐. 자, 됐어.
Really nice draw by the Korean second. Throws the other wing. And Japan will probably need to find a double takeout at some point in this end if they want to get out of this without losing a multiple score. Well, Japan would have liked to just roll into the rings there. You'd see a lot of teams probably choose to draw around that stone, but the risk could well be they set up a double takeout.
Is there a different style in Asia compared to Europe? Like there is a slightly different one from Europe to Canada? Do you notice a difference?
Yeah, perhaps, Alison. As I said before, the Asian nation's still a little bit in their infancy when it comes to the general strategy of the game, but they're really catching up quickly, and we've seen some really aggressive play in the first couple of ends. Probably more like what you would see from the Canadians than the Europeans, to be honest. There's a lot of the Asian nations spending a lot of time in Canada training and playing against some of the best teams in Canada. So saw that in the first end. A lot of play around the centre guard. But there's no doubt, technically the Asian teams are really very, very good, make a lot of shots. Just occasionally it's calling the
Strategy side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Tsuyoshi Yamaguchi.
Okay, so now this corner guard starting to come into play for Korea. That was left after Shimizu's peel.
아니야, 마리노미야, 마리노미야. 클린, 클린. 얍, 얍. 예스! 예스!
I didn't know yes was Korean and was Korean also. The universal language of curling. Yamaguchi from Korea-Wazawa in Japan is a keen cyclist. These lads are very fit now.
Made a mistake here, Yamaguchi. And now that corner guard's wide open for a draw in behind. Really needed to stick the shooter around there and force Korea to play a hit and roll. So much easier to position your stones when you're throwing a draw.
Meantime, let's see what's happening on sheet B. New Zealand against Finland. The last stone of the second end. New Zealand leading after the first. The counter. And finish skip.
Yeah, drawing against two red Kiwi counters. Needs to find a piece of the forefoot to score here. And the sweepers look reasonably happy with it.
It's moving in nicely.
Well, looks like they've done enough curls to touch that red New Zealand stone. It will be a score of 1 for Finland in the second end.
So it's New Zealand 2, Finland 1 after 2 ends. Our featured game, though, is this intriguing battle between Korea and Japan. Two teams very close in the world rankings.
Yeah, and while we were watching Finland, New Zealand, Kim making a big mistake there. Great chance to come around the corner guard and set up a multiple score here in the second end. This is an interesting call here from Morozumi. Doesn't want to get drawn around the corner guard. So choosing to draw to the back of the 8 foot.
レン1だよレンレン8いいよ8ぐらいでいいグリーン券ナイスナイスナイス
Well, well executed. But quite
That's where he wanted it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where they indicated they wanted it. But I think we've seen a lot of teams taking the opportunity there to come around the corner guard, and certainly this late in the end try and force Korea just to score one.
인터넷 낫지 않겠나? 붙이는 거야? 붙이는 건 아닌 것 같아. 자라 이쪽으로 쓰면 아웃턴을 해야 되겠다. 인턴을 해야 되겠다. 생각보다 많이 안 된다. Yes. Whoa. Yes. Whoa. Whoa. Yes. Whoa. 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 Whoa.
And as expected, away goes that yellow, but he loses his red too. So you
Well,
wonder, Logan, what was the plan with that previous Japanese stone?
Well, I just think they didn't want to get drawn into anything around the corner guard. They didn't want to risk giving up a deuce if they got their draw slightly wrong. So
Seems
threw
like,
into the
just
back
seems like
of the
a
rings.
wasted shot, though.
Yeah. I don't think they were expecting Korea to hit and roll out there, but they were perhaps thinking that if they had to make a pretty long hit and roll to get behind the guards, and even if they did, they would be behind the tee line and set up a freeze with their last stone. But this is just a bonus really for Morozumi. This is really a free chance to try and force Korea to score one with a hammer.
Yep, all in the strategy, and these guys are always thinking 2 or 3 stones ahead. So it's the Japanese yellow. It's counting at the moment.
Well, great draw there by Morozumi. Just slips past the tee line, but the most important thing there was to get it tucked in behind the guard and force Korea to draw for one.
Last stone of this second end from the Korean skip. Kim being forced to offer one.
Well, it doesn't look short of speed at the moment.
Keeping off it, that's for sure. And it's
Well, get the measure out. We'll see if we can get it working this time.
I'm not sure about that one. Yeah. He's a bit annoyed there.
Well, some serious pressure on the umpire here. Try and get it right this time. Made a bit of a meal of things in the first end, so.
We didn't quite know what was wrong, but there you go. There's the colours. Korea, Japan in the yellow, Korea the red. Is it red or is it yellow? He wants it to be yellow, of course, for Japan. And they would get the steal. Go on, Logan, which is it? Before the measure goes round, which is it?
I'm going to say yellow.
Okay. Here we go. You see the dial. Players waiting in anticipation. Here it goes round to the red. Just to make 100% sure, just going to do one more check.
So far in this game, Alison, the umpire is getting more airtime than the players are.
Just want to make 100% sure that it is correct, and it is yellow. So it's worked out not in his favour, but in Japan's favour. What a start for them in this game. It was very, very, very close. In fact, we're having another go. Is that because the players weren't happy there, Logan, or?
No, I think it's just that when there's a measure that's as close as this, there's really not masses between it. They just want it double checked so they can have a look at it and see what they think it is. So we've actually changed their mind here and it's red.
Goodness, so it was important to get that redone, and suddenly it's not so bad for Korea. Relieved to get going. It's a one for them, and they've pulled level. Another very interesting end after two. Korea 1, Japan 1. You're watching live coverage from the World Curling Federation Olympic Qualification Event 2013. We're live in the BLZ Arena in Füssen in Germany. 8 men's teams vying for 2 places at the Winter Olympic Games in Sochi next year. It's an absolutely huge amount at stake here. Live commentary from Alison Walker and Logan Gray.
Yeah, well, it's taken us 38 minutes to play the first 2 ends, Alison, and I think about 20 of that has been spent measuring stones.
Does that count towards their total?
No, it doesn't. Of course, the clocks stop between the ends, so it's not included in their playing time. But at the same time, you like to think that these matters will be handed as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Just to keep the rhythm of the game.
Yeah, and momentum, if a team's got a bit of momentum going.
That's good.
And already qualified for the men in the Olympics are Canada, Sweden, Great Britain, Norway, Denmark, China, Switzerland and Russia as the hosts. But who will be the other 2 men's teams? This is why we're here. This is why it's so, so important.
Okay.
Well, a familiar start to this third end. A centre guard going up, come around, and then a freeze. As mentioned before, Alison, this is a very Canadian setup. Both teams very happy to go around the centre guards and get lots of stones in play, and then perhaps when it comes to third stones, there'll be some takeouts played. But at the moment, just trying to jostle the angles around and get them in their favour. Doesn't quite get to the inside of the nose on that one. Couple of options here. Could play a takeout on that yellow stone just played and remove both yellows, or could come round and play a freeze.
딱 그만큼. 딱 보고 이거 될것
Even
같아.
considering this bump and roll to the wing.
핵. 오케이. 백도 괜찮아. 핵. 맞고 서야 돼. 네, 핵.
Yep, looks like that is what has been decided.
팩업. 원. 팩업.
Well, really running this one tight to the guard. Oh, it squeezes by. Super shot there, and Korea lying 2 here in the third end.
That couldn't really have been closer to the guard. Just a wee pass. Whispered pass, maybe better.
Well, here's Shimizu playing the takeout on the wing. Maybe trying to hit and roll behind the centres here.
His sister played at the World Women's Championships in 2013, Emmy. He's a big football fan. A lot of these curlers are very much into other sports and all very good at them as well. She's done.
Just clean. T. 돌고 있어. 여섯 T. 안 올라가면 돼.
Right, so what's happening elsewhere? On sheet C, the United States against the Czech Republic. We're in the second end here. Here's Sneedle with the last stone for the Czech Republic. First blood to the United States, as you can see.
Yeah, good to see Yeezy back playing skip stones. Of course, missed a few games at the Europeans in Norway through illness. What's the score there?
Or two. Looks like they've picked up their one there after 2 ends. United States 2, Czech Republic 1. Expect that one to be very close too.
Not a great result there for Japan. Leaves a couple of stones in the centre line, and Korea lying 2. One of those in behind the centres.
이게 이렇게 들어와. 우리가 들어갈래? 먼저? 우리 들어가자. 나쁘지 않아. 오케이. 6이야.
Got past the guard well enough, but
Oh, difficult to see exactly what they were trying to do there. May have been better just opening things up. The angles were very much not in their favour.
앞에 서도 돼. 라인 오케이. 와.
So here's Park. I think they're just trying to throw a tight guard with this one.
자라 루미야.
Try and take off any double takeout opportunity for Japan.
어디야? 네. 예스. 하이. 들어와 일단 들어오자.
Doesn't quite get it into the rings. And I think this double could still be a possibility for Japan.
이쪽이 덜 나는 거지. 계속 가는 거보다.
and Park, pretty well experienced. Came fourth at the World Junior Curling Championships in 2004. He lists that as his biggest achievement, but I reckon if Korea were to get to the Olympics, that would probably replace that. But long, long way to go before that happens.
Would definitely have liked to just get a little check inside off that and then behind the cover.
Yep, it's very exposed there. Park with his second stone.
Green. Yup. Yup. Yes. Whoa, 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 whoa.
To expect to see this yellow disappear and roll a bit further in, he would have wanted.
Oh, I think that's a pretty good shot there, Alison. There's no out-turn draw now for Japan by just rolling over that a little bit and covering the inside edge. So Japan will be forced to open things up here. Definitely got options off this tight yellow guard. Oh, super shot here by Yamaguchi. Missed his takeout in the last end, but he's sure made up for it here in the third end. It's quite easy to get one of them out, but to get them both out and to stick it on the center line is just a super shot.
Yep. All the angles worked out. 1, 2 gone.
I've really been impressed so far by the standard of the shot making in this game. Another good hit and roll around those centre guards.
Yep, they haven't been afraid to take and make the big shots, even this early in the game. Again, let's check elsewhere. Sheet C, United States against the Czech Republic, 2-1 to the States in the third end. That's the United States skip, John Schuster, with the final stone of this end.
He's in a massive mess here, Alison. Does well to get 2 out, really, but still going to lose a steal of 3. Just a disastrous third end for John Schuster and his American boys.
One of the fancied teams here. But that was a bit of a sore one, and that's given the Czech Republic the lead at United States 2, Czech Republic 4. Back in our featured game, Korea against Japan. It's very tight, 1-1. And we are a bit behind the other games because of the measures that have taken place in the first 2 ends.
Yeah, I think it's got to be said as well, Alison, that it's been an aggressive first few ends. There's been a lot of draws and guards played. So we won't entirely blame the measuring situation. Oh, a chance to blank here for Japan to take the hammer into the fourth end. Wants to try and remove this red stone and roll his yellow stone out of the scoring area. And doesn't manage to do so. but errs on the professional side and still scores 1. And after 3 ends is going to be Japan 2, Korea 1.
나이스 끝. 3. ラインはウォーで OK。ちょっと幅ある。
2-1 to Japan after 3 ends. And Morizumi calling for the center guard once again. And again, the lead player's doing a really good job of throwing tight center guards on the center line.
Both teams seem to have settled very quickly and very well into the game, right from the word go. No major mistakes. In Honam, played in the 2011 World Championships in Regina in Canada. And this is a pretty decent first shot for him. Kazuki Morizumi. First game, obviously, of the championship, so we only have this game to go by, but he's leading well for the Japanese team.
待ってもうちょい待ってまだもうちょいちょっとあるね
Again, both teams playing around the center guard.
And a reminder, if you're new to curling, then these teams are all playing each other in a round-robin format. And then there'll be a ranking established for places 1 to 3. And the team ranked first will play against the team ranked second, with the winner qualifying for the Olympic Games. And the loser of the 1v2 game will then play the team ranked third, and the winner of that game will be the other team that goes through. Wee bit to do before all that.
Yeah, of course, this is the first time that BLZ Arena has hosted an international event since the European Championships in 2007.
And a very prestigious event to get.
Oh, terrific shot here by Shimizu. Makes all of those reds go away.
Yep, he enjoyed that one.
And maybe Korea can return the favor here.
안으로 반 맞으면 돼. 안으로 반. Yep. Yep. Yes. 좋아야 돼. 잡아.
Well, manages to get 2 of those stones off, but not the third. We're probably looking to hit that one closer to the nose to try and make them all go. It's still not a bad result.
So he went in it just inches to the wrong angle.
Well, I don't know if Kosuke Yorozumi, playing a lead for the Japanese team, forgot his polo shirts or something when he was coming here to Füssen, but he's got a nice big bit of silver duct tape covering up whoever's shirt he's borrowing. It's looking a little bit baggy on him as well, so...
Well spotted, Logan. Suppose you're going to lend him some of your gear.
Don't know, I think I could fit 2 of the Japanese boys in one of my polo shirts, Alison. Well, leaves a corner guard there, which could be of use for Korea.
Here's Yamaguchi. Again, 83%, which is really just for this game. We'll see how he develops throughout the tournament. Just that one slight error in the last game, but then made up for it. Let's just see where this finishes, and then we'll catch up on Germany against France. There we go. France getting that one in the first end, and now on to the 4th on sheet D. That's the last stone. And Felix Schultz. They're having to work hard to get this up and in there. They're already lying 1.
Well, looked like it was good enough for 2 for Germany in the 4th end, and Felix Schulze making a nice shot there. Germany 2, France 1. Back in our featured game, Japan being punished for some sloppy stone positioning, leaving the right-hand side of their shot stone in the house open, and Korea making the hit and roll behind the corner guard. When they're throwing that centre guard, they really need to make sure that they're covering the side of the stone to block the roll behind the corner, force them to play to the open side. And Korea making a terrific hit and roll. Oh, and how quickly an end can turn around. See that red fully buried in behind that red guard.
Tiny, tiny margins again. Advantage the Reds.
얘네가 들어가면 여기 들어오면 따라 붙잖아. 얘 있으라 많아. 여기 하면 텔 간단 말이야. 5, 6.
Well, Yongduk Park only playing at 57% so far in this game. It is an early indicator, but I won't read too much into the stats quite this early. Oh, a 3-man sweep here. Really needs to get a bite at the rings here. I don't think this one's going to reach. Well, that's a big mess by the Koreans. And Yamaguchi not really punished for that previous mistake.
So every stone here seems to change something. It's not quite working out for either team, so what can Japan come up with here?
Well, probably the tougher of the two options getting taken here by
いいよ5まで
Morozumi. Trying to play the freeze around the corner guard. Maybe a little bit more reward though if they can play a good one and just half check that red stone in the house. The other option could be to come around the center line guard, but it is a little bit longer. And even with a good draw, maybe Korea could access it.
Here's the Japanese skip, Yuzuki Morozumi, 83% for this game. Looking pretty steady.
Well, looking pretty good here. Can they get it far enough down to lie shot position? That's the key here. Just comes up a fraction shy. Well, now I wonder if we'll see Korea choose to go around the centre guard, and that would really put them in a great position to score 3.
여기 많이 보이지? 많이 보여. 아, 어차피 여기 더블 못 치잖아. 아, 여기서.
Well, it really was a slack piece of stone positioning by Japan that led to this. Just didn't err on the correct side with their guard attempt. And Korea have really taken this opportunity with both hands.
지금 롱가 들어가지고 커버를 한다면 어디든지 돌려칠 수 있을 것 같아. 맞지? 헤그웨이트로 치면 상대 버튼 들어오면 어디든지 돌려칠 수 있어. 티 가지 말고 6, 5도 제일 좋아.
How good your Korean?
So here we go, an out-turn draw. I'm sure that's what they discussed in the hack.
아, 노클리, 웨이트 보고 가.
And they'll definitely be wanting this one in front of the tee line.
아닌데.
Definitely don't want Morozumi to be able to freeze on this stone.
가야 돼. 2번 돼야 돼.
And ideally as well, they will want it as high as possible in the house. They don't want to put it right down onto the button and then Morozumi would still play the freeze. And that's absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect stone positioning by the Korean skip. And Morozumi in a lot of trouble here.
Yeah, you can see the lines there from that shot. How does he get to where he wants to go?
Well, if he could get to
いやそれはいかないか
half stone or more of that yellow stone that he just played, then there could be a double takeout. I think at the moment he'd just settle for getting one of those reds out of there and leaving with only losing 2, but maybe there is a chance for a big shot here.
とりあえず黄色赤を1個出れば2点は OK だ
Yuzuki Morozumi from Nagano in Japan. Works at a sports club. Married with 2 daughters, but his focus this week is getting to the Olympic Games. Big shot here. Will it come off?
빙. 예스. 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 하이.
Oh, just shaves the top guard. And
That was the danger.
ナイス
Couldn't have been closer. But that has given Korea a great chance to really make an impact in this end. From Suyuk, 86%.
yeah, and that's 4 misses in a row there from Japan, leading to this 3-ball for Korea. Just can't afford to make that many mistakes at this level. And Japan are punished for it. It's a score of 3 for Korea here in the 4th end.
いやいや
And Korea leading Japan now by 4 shots to 2.
2点差とりあえずね、そして1エンド目サードがそのことで
And there are the numbers so far. Big 3 for Korea, as we've just seen in the 4th end. All adds up to that 4-2 lead going into the 5th. And it was an end that did ebb and flow both ways. Big mistake from the skip from Japan, opening the door for Korea. See all the other games going on there in this wonderful arena, BLZ Arena in Füssen in Germany, southern Bavaria.
So this is the first time we've really seen any real daylight between the two teams. Korea opening up a 2-shot lead for the first time in the game after a few mistakes by the Japanese towards the end of that 4th end. And for the first time, the first stone of the end goes into the rings. And we'll see a corner guard going up here from the Japanese.
They'll be keen to finish this end well, going to the break in confident shape. So important end.
Set.
Well, Korea, they have just scored a 3 in the 4th end and open up a 2-shot lead, but don't want to go all-out defense quite yet. They still want to apply a little bit of pressure to this Japanese team. And a good guard here by the Korean lead. You see, covering the correct side of that red stone this time, unlike what the Japanese did in the last end, and leaving the corner guard side of the stone exposed. And they really get punished for that.
Oh, they're having to work hard here. Right, drag it along.
바로 여기까지 와도 돼, 타라.
Well, Korea continuing to push the button here in this 5th end. Already 4 stones in play. They could well try and tidy things up a little bit here. But they're going to throw another guard on.
최단 돌려보자. 바꿔 들어올까? 야! 야! 태배. 야! 이놈아 이거 더 좀만 더.
Okay, let's head elsewhere again. Sheet C, USA against the Czech Republic. 4-2 to the States. 4th end, and here's John Schuster again.
Okay, it was really soft though, guys. I just wouldn't stay right off it. That's all I'm saying. You probably clean it. It's fine.
Okay, so already lying 2, it would seem, after giving up a steal 3 in the last time we saw John Schuster playing an absolute bomb with his last shot, trying to get as many Yellowstones out as possible, but still giving up 3. But 3's coming 2s in curling. And he backs it up with a great 4th end to get USA back on track. 4 ends played. USA 5, Czech Republic 4.
Yeah, all the games going on in this first round robin match, very, very close. As we go back to our featured game, he catches his own guard. Korea against Japan. Just not quite happening for Japan at the moment. Loss of 3 in that last end. Korea just looking a little more confident, a little more solid.
Yes! Yes!
Oh, good hit and roll there. And quite a few stones building up around the center line here. Maybe just rolled a fraction too far. Well, Morizumi's going to make a play on this red 3rd shot. He's going to come down and try and bump this back. Really good shot there by the Japanese. Opens up the draw around the corner guard, but still facing 2 red stones in the rings. Oh, Korea wanting to get rid of that yellow stone. There's another yellow biter lying around. Doesn't manage to make the double takeout, but leaves the shooter in an extremely useful position.
Oh, 지금?
Well, they could throw a guard here.
어? 1-3번 할까? 1-3번. 1-3번. 내 치는 게 좀 가까이. 나도 치고 세우는 게 나을 것 같아. 오케이. 그렇죠? 뒤에 거 다 날아가면 되잖아. 일단 1, 2번 만들어자.
Well, deciding that they don't like that yellow piece of granite in there, and they're going to take it out. Got a lot to aim at to throw a guard on that stone and really make life difficult for the Japanese.
Yep, yep.
And this is actually a very difficult takeout to play without moving the 1 in the button as well. So
반대로 봐. 와야 돼 계속 일단. 반대로 봐. 와 계속 와. 얍. 반대로 볼 굳이 아니었어. 그래서 막 계속 옮겨가야 되는데.
근데 이거 너무 어려워서 가드가 났던 것 같아.
그래?
They're not really much further forward after that.
No, certainly not. And Japan now have a chance to get in there and lie probably 3 yellow stones in the house, around about 1 red. If they can play a good hit and roll off this red to the wing, then could well be a big end on the cards for the Japanese. I think a guard would have been a better call there for the Koreans. Much easier shot with a better reward as well. Sometimes the best defense is a good offense.
This is Yamaguchi, charged, doing the business with this stone. Is it going to stay in or out though?
Well, Yamaguchi just struggling a little bit at the moment, and that's a bit of a let off.
So 1 yellow counting for the Japanese. The other red, the number 2 stone.
아까 여기 잡았어요. 괜찮아? 다들 안으로 맞춰. 너 떨어져야 돼. 너. 반대로 늦었어.
Does the important thing and hits and sticks around. Well, I think Japan they'll definitely want to play a takeout on that red stone, but if they could get behind these corner guards, I'll definitely give them a good chance still.
That's where the shooting stone ends up, remember. That's all important.
滑りはもうLSD と一緒ぐらいになってこの辺も。
Just a nice control weight here. Oh, terrific shot by Morozumi. Finds his way behind the shrapnel out front of the house. And now what for Korea? They certainly don't want to risk giving up 3.
제가 반 맞고 튀어가보자.
여기까지 와도 돼요.
오케이.
Well, this looks like the sensible call to me. There's always a temptation to play around that red guard and try and play a freeze on that yellow, or even play a run back on the yellow and try and stick it to lie 2. But if you try something like that and get it just ever so slightly wrong, all of a sudden there's 3 in the equation, and they don't want to completely undo their good work of the 4th end. So they're just going to choose to hit this wide yellow.
There you can see from different angles. And this is the man. Flare skip. The target is that yellow stone.
Yeah, throwing a lot of weight here as well, looking for a good square roll across the house. Doesn't do enough to get into lie shot stone, but maybe just makes things a little bit more complicated for Japan. Not much though.
Yep, they have limited their options, so from that point of view, mission accomplished.
それとは一緒かな。こっち側と一緒ね。そう。とりあえずなかったら吐いてみていいや、もしね。丸々8に入れば OK。
So last stone of this fifth end from the Japanese skip.
タイム
Razumi
ちょっとちょっと
trying to get his team back on level terms.
Well, if any sweepers here can get this stone there, it's these guys. Just terrific sweepers, but not good enough to get that one by. Had the run in, but not the line. And a big miss there from the Japanese.
なんかすぐ曲がっちゃうね。こんな中っぽくは見えないけど。
It all means that after 5, heading into the break, it's Korea 4,
もうちょい広く
Japan 3.
진짜 롤을 딱 했었으면 스틸인데. 조금만 더.
Well, here's the first end. Japan in great shape for a big score. But here comes Soo-Yuk Kim with big weight takeout to save the day.
잠깐 될 거.
And springs 3 of those yellows from plate. Tremendous shot by the Korean skip. This was Japanese skip Yosuke Morozumi with a takeout at the back of the rings. Sweeps it down onto the beak, and after a measure, it would be a score of 1 for Japan. 1-0. Then following up in the second end. Nice come around by Morozumi, forces the Korean skip Kim to draw the 8-foot, and after a few measures, it was eventually deemed a score of 1 for Korea, and it would be a tie game after 2 ends. This was about the 14th attempt at this measure. And then here in the fourth end, here was an open draw to the house after numerous mistakes by the Japanese. Just needed to find the paint and put 3 on the board for Korea. They open up a 2-shot lead. And it's 4-2. Five ends played here in the first draw, and Korea leading Japan by 4 shots to 3.
Elsewhere, Germany against France. 2-1 to the Germans. Tony Anjibou playing the skip stones for France. Last stone of this fifth end. And hoping for a big score here to take them into the break.
Well, hits half stone by the nice control weight, keeps it around, and no amount of effort from Felix Schulze can get that one away. A score of 3 for France.
Yep, and that gives them a decent lead going into the break. 4-2 over the Germans. There's the other scores. New Zealand 3, Finland 1. 6th end, and also 6th end. It's a close one on sheet C. United States 5, Czech Republic 5. And as we've just seen on sheet D, Germany 2, France 4.
지금 무슨 뭐 어딘지 모르겠어요. 무슨 타이밍.
지나간 거는 떠서 남은 오엔드만 잘 잡는 우리 앞으로도 좀 잡고.
いずれにせよ3先だね。
はい。
Well, There's a stats slogan after 5 ends, and it really focuses more on Korea. They're ahead in just about every department, despite that good start by Japan.
Yeah, well, Korea very much weathered the storm in the first end, and then since then have looked a better team. Japan just not making enough shots at the moment.
And they have had opportunities as well. They've had some great positionings and just hasn't quite, just been a wee bit off. So let's see what they have in store in this 6th end. We're live from the World Curling Federation Olympic Qualification Event 2013. We're in the BLZ Arena in Füssen in Germany. It's Alison Walker and Logan Gray bringing you live coverage of this first series of round-robin matches. We're with you throughout the week, and at the end of the week we will know the final lineups for the Olympic Games in Sochi. So this is a massive deal for all these teams, who seem quite relaxed at the moment, but when it comes down to the wire towards the end of the week, nerves will be jangling.
멀리 세우자, 멀리. 루미야.
뒤로 갈 것 같은데?
많이 들어갈 것 같아?
많이.
뒤로 따라. 뒤로 더 빼, 뒤로 더 빼.
Well, the Japanese just really need to turn the screw a little bit at the back end. Too many misses at 3rd position, and a poor miss from Morizumi with his last stone in the 5th end. Really would have been a miracle for Japan to come away from this first half of the game at tied score after 5 ends.
And the lead hasn't had a brilliant game. 75% is not the stats we would expect from a lead, and that probably reflects throughout the team then.
Yeah, it certainly has a knock-on effect throughout the team. I'm not seeing Japanese lead do too much wrong from what I've seen, but obviously the starter feels a little bit differently tied to how I feel about it. It is always a little bit subjective.
In contrast to Yoon Ho Nam in the 90s. And the more experienced curlers on this team.
알아서 되는데 계속 와, 계속 와. 좀만 더 맞고 쳐줘도 돼. 계속 와. 하! 좀만 더. 이렇게 벌려줘, 이렇게 벌려줘.
His other big passion is fishing. So he's good at fishing and curling. I'm sure there's a relationship there somewhere. Patience, perhaps.
Well, Shimizu only playing 50%. The Japanese like a spot of fish as well. Maybe it's the Korean lead that's sending it over for the Japanese to make it into sushi.
I don't know, you need to be patient when you're fishing, don't you? So, and you need to be patient in curling because it's the long game.
Well, they would have liked this one a little bit higher in the house. Bit of a mistake there by Shimizu. Would have liked that somewhere around the front of the house rather than down there, and gives Korea a chance to get off the hook here.
통해도 돼. 짝가도 2개. 붙어야 돼. 스위치로 가야 돼. 스위치로 가야 돼.
Well, would have liked to get to the inside of that. And this end very much there for the taking for either team. Just a little bit of loose stone positioning so far in this end from both teams. Sometimes ice conditions do just change a fraction after the 5-minute break. Just gives the ice an opportunity to cool down a little bit. Can get a little bit faster and a little bit straighter, and maybe that's why they're getting caught out at the moment. Just a couple of them hanging a little bit high and deep. And yet another one doesn't quite make the roll.
Yes, a little scowl from the Japanese player.
이래 달릴까?
될것 같은데? 너지?
날려도 돌 붙을 수 있을까?
상관없지.
여튼 정타로 와, 좀 세게 올게. 필. 넘어라.
피해.
필. 정타만 몇 개 나가? 세 개나 나갈 거야. 세 개나.
Okay, so I think we're going to see some skittles getting played here by Korea.
Tipping, which affects the trajectory of the stone.
Well, gets a nice line in behind the centre guard, but does leave that red a little bit exposed if Korea did ever want to make a play on it. I think I would like to see Korea try and open this up a little bit though. Just need to be a little bit careful here if they do decide to play a run on this yellow guard. They certainly don't want to lose that red stone in the 4-foot circle. It's in a pretty good position for them at the moment.
열어놔야 될 것 같아.
하나만 여는 거 어때? 어차피 쟤네 또 센터 플러스.
이래가지고 2개 깨면 더 젊고.
아 저기 이게 째질까 봐 4번 돌이 괜히 좋은데.
최대한 이쪽으로 맞을게. 안쪽으로 이래 맞으면 이래 뜰 것 같던데. 내가 턴을 할게. 반보다 좀 더 두껍게.
절로 튀면은 안 날 것 같아. 반보다 얇아도 돼.
So they are going to try and run this. Yongduk Park only playing 48% thus far. I think there's some rough statisticians in the building.
That's entirely based on his performance in this game, because this is obviously the first game. He's played some decent shots.
Yeah, and that was a good one there. Got rid of the 2 key yellow stones that were getting in the way.
Yep, that's the task he was given, and he pulled it off.
Yeah, it just makes the guard a little bit more complicated here for Yamaguchi. Made a mistake 2 ends ago, which was the beginning of the Japanese downfall in the 4th end and led to them losing 3. Doesn't throw a lot of handle on the stones. Sometimes it just makes it a little bit more difficult to position the stones. But he's done a good job that time.
Yamaguchi, he's 70%, just a bit better than his Korean counterpart. We've seen him make some great shots and some couple of ropey ones as well.
한 번 더. 이쪽 이렇게 들어도 돼. 오케이. 아니면 그냥 하나만. Yep. Yep. Yes.
Trying to run again here. Oh, and just slices that red off the top of the forefoot. Well, not a disastrous shot, really. The only problem is they're lying 2 against now instead of 1, but does maybe give them better access to the button for their final stone. And if there is any sort of mistake from Japan, maybe that red stone could still come into play for a multiple score.
And we can expect anything from what's been played so far. So nothing is impossible. At the moment, the 2 yellows for Japan are the ones that matter.
A great look at the sweepers here. Really flat backs and their feet miles away from the running path of the stone. It means a lot of pressure over the brush head. And has he done enough there? I think he has.
I don't know that they could have done much more. Huge amount of effort put in by the Japanese sweepers there, and you could see what a difference it did make.
Yeah, they're feeling that one.
Worked off a few calories there.
Some of the halftime shortbread repeating on him maybe there.
Maybe it just gave them that extra bit of energy. These guys are fit and they're only in their 20s. But good sweepers can make all the difference in this game. And they do. What about the States against the Czech Republic? 6th end on sheet C, 5 all at the moment. Again, we're looking at John Schuster with the last stone. And it's another great shot from him.
I don't think he could have done too much more than that, Alison. I think he was maybe hoping they might be able to get both of those reds moving, but just hits it thin enough to get it out over the top. And it's a score of 1 in the 5th end. And it's a tied game there. USA 5, Czech Republic 5.
Kim Soo-hyuk, the skip, 83%. He has been pretty solid.
Yeah, that's the kind of numbers you'd hope to see from your skipper. He's really played a few pistols so far in this game. He'll need a good one here if he wants to lie shot position. Ah, terrific shot. Really good shot there by Kim.
Just nudged the 2 yellows away. Headstone counting now.
Well, the good thing for Japan here is that guard that Morozumi did just throw is reasonably long, so that gives them a little bit more room for error to bend one around it and move that red stone. And if they could ever just pop that red out of there and leave a yellow somewhere around the center line, then they could be in a good shape for a steal here in this 6th end.
That's what Suzuki Morozumi will be thinking.
Okay, so just a control weight here you'd expect from Morozumi.
He's 68%, yeah. Started well, but it's tailed off as the game has progressed. But this could make the real difference. But it's going to catch the guard, and that was the concern.
Well, that's another big miss by Morozumi on the inside. We've seen him over curl a few times. I just wonder if there's anything in that stone that they're not picking up.
2점만 따내.
Perhaps just curling a little bit more than his other one.
How do you know?
Well, that's a good question, Alison. It's very much down to your perception of how your players have laid the stone and trying to remember different lines and
그냥 들어서 2점 당겨놔.
how you've missed shots, looking for trends. But I've got to say, if
정타 쳐서.
so could it be this yellow number 5 stone that's causing the problems for Japan?
잘못하다가 2점 줄 수도 있잖아.
You've got to think that just over a few ends, when your skip's missed a few times in the same place, then
But it's not an exact science as such, is it? So it's hard to be too analytical about it.
yeah. And as you know, Alison, the stones are made of a natural rock from the Ailsa Craig in granite, and there is slight differences in them.
Well, the manufacturers would not say that. They would say that they're all done to exact specifications.
Of course they would.
Case of Scotland factory in Mauchline in Scotland.
So anyway, the stones do tend to run a little bit differently sometimes. And I'm not saying it's definite in this scenario, but it's definitely something that Japan might want to consider.
So this is the last stone for the Koreans.
Oh, can they get this one there? Oh, squeezes it by the top one, but looks like it's running out of room.
And that is another missed opportunity for one of these teams. We've seen a few of those. A real chance to get the momentum building again. And they've missed out on that. Still in the lead though, Korea, after 6. It's Korea 5, Japan 3.
いやでも全体的に多分幅は狭いと思う。
There's the names and numbers. Korea 5, Japan 3, into the 7th end of this World Curling Federation Olympic qualifying event 2013. This lovely arena, the BLZ arena. There's the flags in the background of all the countries competing, all hoping, all dreaming of the Winter Olympics in Sochi next year. Long week to go, a lot of play. And so far in this one, it's Korea who've turned things around, although missing out in that last end.
Well, it's got to be said, Alison, that the Olympics really does shape our sport of curling just like every other one. It really is the pinnacle of the sport. It only comes around once every 4 years. And you get teams going to World Championships year after year, but they'll say that the Olympics is the big one for them.
And we've been gearing up for this on the Olympics for about 2 or 3 years now. So a lot of these teams have been thinking about it for a long, long time.
ちょっと待って。いいよ、イエス。イエス。ちょっと伸ばしてほしい。イエス。イエス。イエス。もうちょい曲げたいよ。イエス。イエス。イエス、イエス、イエス、イエス、もうちょい、もうちょい、もうちょい。イエス、イエス、イエス、イエス、イエス、もうちょい、もうちょい、もうちょい。ナイス、ナイス。
Korean lead had a good start to this round robin game.
좀 태연아 스위치로 오자. 태환아 스위치로 오자. 아직도 뻗고 있어. 아직도 뻗고 있어. 좀 돌아야 돼 많이. 많이 돌아야 돼. 밀어넣어 밀어넣어. 더. 오케이. 이거 괜찮아. 싸움 좋잖아.
Hitomi Nagaoka, the coach for Japan. She's been with them for a few years now.
ちょっと待って登録ちょっと待って
Analysing all their play
いいよ yes
ahead of the rest of the round robin games. We'll go over this, what happened in this game, especially the misses. But this is nice.
Well, we've seen some reasonably good setup play by both teams, but at the moment it's just the skips failing to put the final touches on, really, that's making the difference.
세경 막는 건
Korea doing a slightly better job than the Japanese at the back end,
센터
but still,
둘.
this game could really go either way. There's just takes a few good shots and one of the teams to take the game by the scruff of the neck, and you could well see a good score go on the board for either team.
Yep, we have seen errors all the way through, and sometimes the opponents have taken advantage of them and sometimes they haven't. So there will be chances.
많이 돌아야 돼. 많이 돌아야 돼.
That clips the yellow guard, but he's not too unhappy.
몇 초에?
Well, we'd have liked to make a freeze there, but at least covers the angle for Japan to
前
raise.
でもいいや
Could be a chance for Japan to bring the corner guard in to play with the last stone. They could throw one around there and then perhaps peel those guards with the next one.
Let's go back right J back right yes back right back right let's go back right yes
Just a quiet way to take out here. Even rubbing the guards wouldn't be a terrible shot.
Okay, nice, nice.
Well, doesn't manage to move the red stone in the 4 foot, but moves that yellow out the way and creates some good separation between those yellow stones.
Yang Si-young, the coach for Korea, is getting well wrapped up in here. It is, if you're not actually playing, it is quite chilly in this arena.
Yeah, certainly looks like he's suffering like we are, Alison.
We're lucky enough to have somebody bring us a nice hot cup of tea though, so, and enjoying the action.
벌어지지 마라.
Okay, so bit of a mistake there, but still that red stone on the centre line in the 4 foot, pretty well covered at the moment.
いやフリーズにしようか
I like this call from the Japanese, going aggressive here in the 7th end. Definitely smell blood here. They could make a good freeze, and it could set up a big score.
幅ちょっと待ってもらいたい呼んでいいよちょっと待って呼んでもいいからちょっと待ってよはいもういいよよし
Well, the thing about the freeze is you do need to make it good here. Well, it doesn't quite get it down there.
It's nowhere near a freeze.
Well, it's still in a useful position, depending on how you look at it. It's not easy to remove, but
막는 거보다 이게 맞을 것 같아.
it does
너 봐라.
There's another stone in the centre line, which isn't exactly what you're looking for when you've got the last stone, but freeze never easy to make it absolutely perfect.
Is it the toughest shot in curling?
Well, it is when it's absolutely wide open, but maybe in that position where there's a guard, it gives you a little bit more room for error to get a good result.
Some players are really good at them and some players just aren't. They're good at other things, so...
Strengths and weaknesses for everyone, Alison.
How were your freezes?
I'm freezing a lot just now because it's so cold in this arena, Alison, but yeah, I've been known to be okay at draws. I've also been known to throw a few through the house, so...
It happens at every level. Haven't seen much of that in these games, certainly. There's been some good stuff from these two teams. And you don't like to say they're emerging nations anymore because they're well able to compete at the top table.
Well, it just takes you to look at the results of these teams when they go to the likes of Canada and how every country is now starting to mix it with the Canadian teams and get some good results on the board. And this is a disaster really for Yamaguchi. Pushes another red in, and perhaps Korea lying 3 now.
Sheet C, United States against the Czech Republic, 7th end. Shuri Snittel with the last stone. Very, very tight match, this one.
Well, we've said that it's wide open in this men's event, but perhaps this is the biggest clash of the first draw. Certainly two of my picks for qualification, and they're really going hammer and tongs here in this first draw.
2 for the Czech Republic there. Gives them a 7-6 lead. 5-3 Korea over Japan. In this, our featured match, we're in the 7th end. And a lot of stones in play. A lot of combinations, a lot of hurdles to negotiate.
So Yamaguchi needing a good one here to make up for his previous mistake. Got to say, I think both these teams really peaked in the first end. Saw almost perfect end, an almost perfect end from both teams in the first end.
Yeah, great shots and great action.
Yeah, the game's been really littered with mistakes. That's a pretty good shot there from Yamaguchi. The way the angles of the stones are at the moment, not that easy for Japan to get at that red stone on the center line. Don't think they can get at it without hitting another stone onto one of those yellows around the center line.
It's a bit of an obstacle course, and he has called for timeout. Have a little chat with their coach about what to do next. Run some things past him.
Yeah, sometimes these are the hardest situations to decide what to do, is when you think you're in a pretty good position, how to actually improve it without risking making things
Yep.
risking making things easier for the opposition.
Here he is in his big jacket, wandering down.
Well, he's certainly taking his time walking down here, maximising the travel time for his team. Of course, the clocks start as soon as the coach arrives with the team to discuss.
이게 더 가까워요. 1번, 2번이에요. 3번, 4번이요. 예, 근데 상대도 이거 안 치면 상대도 또 몇백밖에 못해요. 이쪽이 낫겠죠. 이쪽보다는. 그래서 돌려가지고 백가드 만들어도 뒤에 먹고 이쪽으로 하다가 열려버린 거죠. 골치 아프다. 잘 막혔으니까. 갔다가 와이드 사이드로 그냥 퍼져버릴까. 혹시나
Well, I think from the discussions, something that they did indicate to the coach was that they were lying a third shot with that red stone in the right-hand side of your picture over the yellow in the furthest left of the picture. Oh, Korea not blessed with time either. We get a clock shot here, and Korea just approaching 21 minutes with over 3 ends remaining. You would generally leave 7
minutes or
at
so.
least minutes
Yep.
per end.
So they can't really afford to hang about too long. It should still be enough.
That being said, we saw Eve Muirhead in the European final with only around 4.5 minutes remaining going into the last end. I think it's fair to say that had an impact on their shot execution. So you want to leave at least 7 minutes, probably even more for the final end. So Korea will need to get a move on. Well, they've made an aggressive call here, trying to get in there and lie in second shot. Super draw here by Kim. Finds another one into the 4-foot circle.
Yep, well played from the Korean team. Had to be so accurate with this. So many stones to get through and past. Through that channel. Coming round. Nicely played. So now Japan's turn to think about their next move. What are they thinking, Logan?
Well, hard to say. I think what I said before just about the Korean timeout was that sometimes it's difficult to put the stones in a position where it doesn't help your opposition. And they played a really good draw there, but perhaps they've given something for Japan to hit their yellow onto now, which would create better angles to get rid of the other red stone as well. So I would expect to probably see an in-turn takeout off the centre line between those two red stones and maybe raising the yellow at the top of the 8-foot onto the red on the tee line. It looks like they're quite happy to open up the centre line on this occasion. And actually, if they play this well, they could run it across the face of that yellow closest to the rings and maybe get rid of that red on the edge of the 8-foot circle.
Morozumi, not great on his 7 hits, 64%. Now would be a great time to get it right.
I'm not exactly sure that's what they were looking for. So Korea could just hit this stone at the back of the 8-foot circle to lie 3. Or they could play more aggressive and try and get another one in there. But I would suggest they need to move quickly. And actually, part of the timeout, I would suggest, should have been the coach just reminding them that they're on time clocks.
Yeah. It is an opportunity to speak to them because he's not allowed to at any other time except during the interaction. So.
Well, the way the stones sit at the moment, very difficult to see how Japan can score more than one. Actually, very difficult for them to score one. So Korea going to try and throw a guard, I think, on that yellow stone in the centre line. That seems to be the easiest shot for Japan to score with.
That's what you're seeing. That's what we're seeing too.
Yeah, that's what the coach is seeing. Maybe something to look back at later on.
83% for his 6 draws so far, which is good stuff from the Korean skip.
스위치 스위치.
It's his last stone,
더 돌아야 돼. 더 돌아야 돼.
trying to limit what his opponent might get.
좀만 더 좀만 더.
Yeah, and they played this well too. Really nice stuff from the Korean skip.
Now, how does the Japanese skip find his way through all that to get something out of this end? Well, you thought this would be problematic for them. And the Koreans have certainly given them something to think about.
もう一回狙う
Yeah, they didn't really gain a lot from their last stone.
ああそれね、
時間は割とある。
ある
Certainly giving this one a lot of thought. They know that a
負けてんだ
slightly wrong step here and the game could well be over, so having a good look at it.
There's the coach,
はないと思う。
obviously with her thoughts on it.
Yeah, and actually, Alison, I had a training game against these guys last Wednesday night at the Peak in Stirling at my home rink, and we kind of found that Japan were finding themselves in the same sort of trouble when they were getting themselves in a bad position. It was when they had last stone, they were leaving too many stones around the centre line, and they're still finding the same problems here. And they're now having to play a really, really tough shot just to score one. Maybe something to take forward for the future games is just trying to keep that centre a little bit more open and putting a little bit less pressure on the final stones of the end.
Yep, they made life difficult for themselves at times. And this is an important final stone.
Yeah, this is a really tough shot here for Morizumi on a bit of a wild slide. Playing a lot of weight if he wants to stick it. Where's the cue ball going? I was going to slip right through the rings, and they might have even just pushed another one in. Is it as many as 3 for Korea?
It's dreadful, whatever way you look at it. If you're Japanese, that is a horrible end for them.
Major.
It's a strange final stone from this young man. But it's an uphill task for Japan now, that's for sure.
Yeah, just making too many mistakes around the centre guard with the last stone, and it's going to be the first steal of the game. And
어떤 것 같아?
we're going to get another measure here.
Smiles in this camp. They've played well.
Yeah, number 2.
俺のとこでちょっと弱かったんで。
Here's Gwen Stefani coming out for the measure once more.
She's been a busy lady in this game.
Well, she's already carried out, I think, 5 measures so far in this game, in just the first 2 ends. So, comes number 6. Get a little look at the pressure needle there. Currently sitting at 0.
You can watch.
Remember, Korea red, Japan yellow. Is it Korea or is it Japan? It is yellow. So, not quite as bad as was first thought if you were Japanese.
Yeah, the measure done a little bit more efficiently this time. Maybe she had a little bit of practice in the last hour.
Yuzuki allows himself a little smile.
하나 들어가고 사이드 가드 치면 그 다음 차서 붙여놓고 굵게 들어가고.
She's a busy lady. Up she goes with the score. Confirming that it is 2 for Korea. And the Koreans have a really good position going into the 8th end. Korea 7, Japan 3.
That's good. 여섯, 다섯도 괜찮아. 웨이트만 봐. 여섯 티. 다섯. 여섯 티. 스톤 살아있어.
Well, Korea really screwed the nut there in the 7th end and blown this game wide open. Now leading by 4 shots after 7 ends. And I don't think we'll see them throwing too many guards now. Japan, on the other hand, they're going to have to really throw everything at Korea, including the kitchen sink. And they're going to use corner guards to do so.
Japan have to find a way back into this game. 7-3 down in this first game of the round robin in the World Curling Federation Olympic qualification event. We're here at the BLZ Arena in Füssen, Germany. Alison Walker and Logan Gray bringing you all the action.
That's good. 웨이트. 바로 붙이자. Same eight. 딱 안 붙여도 되니까 일자로 세워야 돼. Last fine. 좋아. 오케이, 샷. 사나. 쭉쭉 밀어.
Well, here's an interesting stat for you, Alison. So Korea and Japan met each other in the 2013 Pacific Championships, and after 7 ends, the scoreline was 7-3 in favour of Korea. Then in the 8th end, Korea gave up 4, and then a steal of 1 in the 10th end to lose the game, 9-7.
Well, there we go.
So maybe this game not quite dead yet,
Japan
but
won the silver in the Pacifics. So meantime, sheet D, Germany against France. 8th end, 4-3 to France. And it is a shake hands all round. That game is over in the 8th end. First game of the round robin for Germany and for France.
Yep.
And his victory for the French. They don't seem hugely happy, but a wee thumbs up from Tony Anjibou, who plays the final stones. 8-3 victory.
Well, Alison, I was speaking to a couple of the French guys before the game, and at times they don't look that enthused about playing in international championships, but maybe they've just had a little bit of a rest. They look quite rejuvenated and up for the challenge this week, and I wonder how well they'll go this week.
You seem quite impressed by them, so we shall see.
Oh, I know I haven't spoken to Mike Harris a little bit. He does a bit of work in Switzerland, and Thomas Dufour has been in there every day for the last month, throwing stone after stone, trying to get ready for this week. And might have been a good opportunity with France not going to, or Thomas Dufour not going to Europeans for France, to get a little bit of extra practice time in, just making sure they're completely focused on this event, which really is the more important job in hand.
Yep, so game 1 for France. But what about this one? Definitely erring on the side of the Koreans at the moment. 7-3 in this 8th end. But there could be a time issue, unless it's over a bit more quickly than expected.
That's good. Hug. Line's good. Hug. Yes. 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 Hug. Yes. 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 Okay. Nice.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice. Nice. Nice.
Nice.
Comparison of the seconds, and the Korean second way ahead of his Japanese counterpart.
Yep. 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 Whoa, clean. Whoa, clean. Clean. Whoa, clean. Whoa, whoa.
Okay, so chance here for Japan to play something around that corner guard.
미안, 내 실수야. 미안.
They're going to need to be willing to ignore the red stones in the rings. Take some risk.
Maguchi.
Yes. 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 There. Yes. Yes.
Well, we saw Korea
Yes.
throwing 2 stones into the rings with their first 2 of the end. Similar thing happened at the throw of the rings last week. The qualification for the Canadian teams to go to the Olympics between Glenn Howard and Kevin Martin. And any stone that is in play is one that can be used for the team chasing the game. And that cost even the great Glenn Howard a score of 4 in the 9th end there, and ended up losing the game as a result. So just need to be a little bit careful here, the Koreans, not to let stones build up around the rings.
Yep, they may have that 7-3 lead, but it can all change so quickly.
Well, there's another stone in play, and nearly jams on that back one. So a chance for another draw around.
Comparison of the thirds, Park and Maguchi. Give you an idea of the way the game has gone, but I think you can see that probably from the scoreline. And this is looking a little bit speedy.
Nice.
Well, it doesn't lie in shot position, but actually finds it a pretty good spot. They really needed to create some distance between that red stone at the front of the rings and that yellow to prevent a short run back. So Korea choosing to play the draw here.
이 정도 되는데 최대한 우리가 1, 2번 만들면 좋지. 방금 쟤네들 지금 6 잡은 거 맞냐?
뭐 살짝 보여도 되나 근데?
반 보여도 돼. T 뒤로.
So we're on to the skip stones in this 8th end. Korea just have to keep themselves concentrated. Not do anything too daft. They are 7-3 up.
Certainly looks like it's got enough running. Can they get it back there to lock it right on? Super draw here by Kim.
Yep, and there's the comparisons of the two skips. Kim ahead in every department. Still not firing in all cylinders, but better than his opposite number.
相当薄いから疲労も出ちゃうかも最後右から来たら6がいいね5かな
Well, Morizumi's going to have that same draw and quite happy to ignore the shot stone in order to force a mistake. Certainly looks like there's going to be a score here in this 8th end. But certainly not going to be as many as the 4 that they scored in the Pacific Championships just a couple of months ago.
3
ピン、ロング、エス、ウェスク、エス、ラインはいいよ。ウェスク、エス、ロング、エス、エス、エス、エス、エス、エス、エス、エス、
Really needing to sweep this one hard to get it down there. That's not going to go far enough. Well, Korea lying 2 at the moment.
Despite the efforts of the sweepers, just not enough.
플랜을 확실하게 정하고 가자.
Yeah, the Japanese sweepers have really had a good workout this afternoon.
여기 괜찮을 것 같은데.
For not a lot of reward, it must be said.
12. 센터라인 쪽은 탑 하우스 3번 대경으로 막아 그냥. 혹시나 세면 끌고 들어가지고 1번 만들어버려, 그렇지?
And they've struggled these last few ends, not these two in particular, but the team as a whole. Still trying to catch their breath. So they watch what the Korean skip has to offer.
내 따삭. 내 따삭.
룸. 뻗어. 더 돌아야 돼.
웨이트만 봐줘, 웨이트만. 어디야?
라인 괜찮아.
들어와 버려.
And they're going to need to work hard at this one, Logan. They're going to get it there.
만들어 더. 좀만 더.
Well, even if they can throw something into the front ring there, it's going to make it extremely difficult for Japan to score.
됐어? 굿슈필.
They may well have to play a tap up on their own yellow now. That's in a really good spot.
Again, Japan struggling against problems, a lot to do with their own creation. Korea continue to ask the questions. And Japan, so far, haven't found too many answers.
そうかこれが入んないのかこんぐらいでしょ
止まっちゃうと思うんだよな。それ狙うとしたら
ここにしか
9とかじゃないとあそこより入らないでしょ。
ここに来ない
No wonder he's scratching his head.
早いのでこれ出ちゃうかでも早い系でいかないとこれロールしてこなそうだよね
9秒は出さないと。だけどここがこのぐらいでしょ。
9だったらこっちが入っていかないとこれが入ってこなそうだよね
Couldn't even see what they were looking at here, but I think they're trying to work out a way to score 2, and the only way they think they might have is to try and play a thin double off their own Yellowstone and run through onto the shot and hope that the Yellowstone at the front of the ring spins through into the 8-foot to score 2. But
Is it as risky to try and score 2 as it is to try and score 1? So should they go for the 2 anyway?
このぐらいだよね多分ね。
no, in a word, I think the tap's a much easier shot, and I think the problem, the main problem that they have is that that thin double might not even be there because of that red stone just played by Kim. So I think they're maybe choosing to come around the high side and try and tap this red red shot stone through and stick around in the 8 foot.
ちょっとお前は
Still tough. Bit of pressure on this young man. Last stone of the 8th end.
Oh, rocket, rocket.
Well, again, down with the brushes early here. Doesn't look like it's got a lot of running here, Alison. Some real panting going on. Have they managed to squeeze this up the middle? No, they have not. I think that's enough.
That is the shot that finishes it, and it finishes it all for Japan because it is victory for Korea. They played a really, really good game against Japan in their first match of this round robin. This young man didn't quite get his game together, but this one did. And it's Korea who emerged the victors by 9 shots to 3.
Yeah, Korea playing some really good stuff there, it's got to be said. Not really put under too much pressure by the Japanese. The first end was really the highlight of the match for the Japanese team. And even then, they didn't manage to convert it into points on the board, really.
They will look back and think, well, we had opportunities. It's up to us to take them in our next series of games. But good start for Korea. Good start too for the French. They've also won their first round robin game by 8 shots to 3. Still a couple of games going on in the arena. New Zealand against Finland and USA against the Czech Republic.
Yeah, and France saw off Germany by 8 shots to 3 in just 8 ends. Super start to the week for Thomas Dufour. And this is how it went here. This is Korea's final stone of this first end without the last stone. Facing a whole heap of yellow granite in the 4-foot circle. It does a terrific job of spreading them, sprays them away. And it would leave just a nose hit takeout for Yosuke Morozumi. Needing to hit this one right on the beak at the back of the rings. Not much space to roll either way, but does a good job. And following a measure, it would just be a score of 1 for Japan in an end that looks so promising. 4th end, and numerous mistakes by the Japanese back end, punished by the Koreans. And this was Kim just drawing the paint. And count them up, 1, 2, and 3 for Korea. And it would be Korea 4, Japan 2 after 4 ends. Then here in the 6th end, this was Korea drawing for 1. Soo-Yuk Kim had a little bit of backhand to come down onto here, and a big scrub by his team wasn't enough to get it down there. Just over curls and a little bit short. Put 1 on the board for Korea. Scoreline there, 5-3 after 6. Then the 7th end, this really was the beginning of the end for Japan. A lash at the run back from Morozumi. Doesn't curl enough. And following a measure. The 3rd end, there was a measure. It would be a score of 2 for Korea. Another steal in the 8th end would be enough. And Korea winning this first round matchup here at the Olympic qualifiers by 9 shots to 3 over Japan in just 8 ends.
And there you see the other matches in the 9th end. New Zealand 5, Finland 3, United States 7, Czech Republic 8, and a final score on sheet D, Germany 3, France 8.